So, I introduced you, said that you were a pianist, first and foremost. I think you said you've been doing that for 37 years, and you're a young man, so that's got to be most of your life. How did you get started in music?
That was interesting. I didn't really come from a musical family per se, but my mother bought a piano when I was a kid and just sort of set it in a room and had a beginner's book on it. And then one rainy Saturday morning, I didn't have anything to do, so I sat down at the piano and I opened the book and started tinkering around. And by the end of the day, I went to her and I said, "Mom, can we get another book? Because I'm done with this one."
Wow, one day.
Yeah, it was just sort of a natural thing for me. So she got me piano lessons, and just right off the bat, I was picking it up very quickly and started working professionally. I would say within about 5 years, I was doing community theater. I was accompanying a community chorus and playing for weddings and funerals. And
to me, and one of the most beautiful sounds to me is piano. I love piano music, and we're going to talk a lot more about the type of music you're doing now, because I think it's just fantastic and just totally channeled from source. But before we get there, I know that a couple of years ago, the way that we met is that we worked together to help move you into another area. So when you came to me 2 years ago, where were you in your life, and what were you hoping to get to?
It was a really interesting situation because already at that point I had done a lot of work on myself. I was very successful in every way that people measure success. I had a good corporate career, 15 years in an IT field, working in the financial services industry. I was a manager. I made a lot of money. I had been married for almost 20 years. I have two wonderful daughters, very well-adjusted teenage girls, and really had everything going for me. I was singing lead in a barbershop quartet. We were competing regionally and doing well. In spite of all the outward success that I had in my life, I couldn't shake the feeling deep inside of being what I described to you, I think at the time, as being a failure at life. And it really didn't make any sense. It didn't conform to the image that people would have had of me. If you'd have asked anybody at that time, is KIRK Sugars successful? They said, "Oh yeah, he's very successful." And yet I didn't feel it. I felt the opposite. I felt like there were things that I was supposed to be doing with my life that I really wanted to be doing with my life, but felt blocked, was not able to really make them happen. And it was, I think, because of those feelings.
And I remember you very vividly as a client. I remember the sessions that we did, and you were always one of my favorite clients because you really went for it. And that's one of the things that's so important about removing those obstacles or getting through those blocks, is just really going for it and saying, okay, this isn't working out for me. What can I do differently? And then finding the tools to do them and then using them to do them. So I know that you've used some of those tools and that life is different for you now. So how has life changed since then?
Well, I walked out of your office after the third session that we did, and I felt more confident than I'd ever felt in my life. And I also felt very, very clear about what my purpose in life was. It was interesting because I didn't walk in there with that expectation that I was going to completely embrace something that I had long previously left behind. I walked out of your office going, I'm meant to be a pianist. That's why I'm here. That's who I am. And I'm also, my primary purpose in life is to help people in as direct a way as I can. And while I found many opportunities to be of service and to help people in my career, it just wasn't direct enough. I always had Microsoft in the middle of it.
Right.
And I really wanted to remove that middleman. And so it took about a year for me to decide to do the thing that I'd been dreaming of doing for at least 10 years, maybe 15 years. And that was becoming a massage therapist. The idea that I could directly touch a person and help them feel better was very exciting to me. And then I also felt that that career would give me more flexibility. Being self-employed would give me more flexibility to also pursue my music. And then had this inkling of an idea that maybe I could somehow find a way to do both at the same time. Literally, like maybe give a massage through the piano.
Oh, how cool.
And that was really my goal with the CD that I've done recently.
And I've listened to the CD, and because I'm so used to going into altered states, as we call it trance or the alpha wave brain state, in massage, I don't know if you have a different relaxation or term for it. I think it's all the same, that as soon as I received your CD called Organic Chemistry, and I'm going to grab that real quick. Here it is, and maybe Mitch will put a beautiful cover. It's called Organic Chemistry. I was very happy. I received it as a gift in the mail. I popped it in. I haven't told you this, Kirk. I popped it into my car. I was driving to the gym early one morning. Said, okay, I want to start listening to this CD. Probably 10 notes in, I started to cry. And I was like, oh my God, this CD is beautiful, because it just immediately went to that place. Went to that place where you just kind of let go. And if your intention was to give a massage through the piano, that's what it was. It was just like that dropping it down into self and just like letting go. And it's beautiful. So tell me a little bit about how you got started on this album and how it flowed for you.
And the idea actually came to me while I was interviewing to enter massage school. I was debating, I was right on the point of deciding whether to take the leap of leaving my corporate career.
It's a big leap.
And, yeah, taking essentially 7 months off of working at all and just going to massage school. And so I interviewed the owner of the school and one of the teachers at the school, and we talked about the industry and the process of becoming a massage therapist. We also talked about my music, and they said, well, there's always a need for more music to be used for massage, and this would be background music that you use during a session. I thought, you know, that's a really good idea. That's been proposed to me before by a massage therapist that I had. She said, oh, you should do a massage CD. And I had done a sort of a family and friends CD about 10 years prior that was just for my close associates. That was, I called it my healing CD. It was really both my sister and my father were dealing with cancer at the time, and I wanted something for them to listen to help them relax. So I had done that, but it wasn't really commercial quality in my mind. But I had this idea of using the piano as a modality for healing, if that's possible.
Oh, I think absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Well, one of the things about music that's fascinating to me, and Franz Liszt talked about this in the 1800s, he said that music bypasses language and goes straight to the emotional and spiritual heart of people and expresses things that can't be expressed in words. And I find that really interesting, and I also find interesting the idea that intention is also carried in the music. So you not only understand the emotion that's there, but you can also feel, I believe, the intention of the person creating the music.
Yes.
So I thought, if I could take what I'm going to learn in massage school, because they had talked about what I'm going to learn in massage school, if I could take that, somehow integrate that with my piano, that maybe it could take on an added dimension, even from anything that I had done before. And nature doesn't really work on a grid system. It doesn't really have bar lines like you have in music.
Right.
It's much more organic than that. And that was the concept of the album, and that's why I chose to call it Organic Chemistry, because I wanted to somehow incorporate into the music the feeling of those multiple layers of pulses and the different energies that are happening, and the sense that they're autonomic. And so I very deliberately avoided using meter, using set rhythms, or even phrases that have an even number of beats to them, because I wanted the lines themselves, the harmonies, the melodies, and the rhythms to basically form the music almost like a fractal, from nothing into something. And that's why I chose leaves for the cover as well, because the leaves, you can see the structure of the leaf, but that macroscopic leaf comes about as a result of microscopic processes that are happening.